Hello everyone, how are you doing today? Welcome to my first live stream at YouTube. Today I'm going to present you a real business problem solved using Power BI. So I found out this cool dataset at Maybe Analytics about CRM opportunities. It's a B2B sales pipeline from a fictitious company that sells computer hardware, including information on accounts, products, sales teams, and sales opportunities. Uh, the page recommends some analysis, and these are the questions that we're trying to answer today. So, how is each sales team performing compared to the rest? Are there any sales agents lagging behind? Are there any quarter over quarter trends? And finally, do any products have better win rates? So notice that these are a little bit vague questions, okay? But we try to make it a little bit more objective during our analysis, right? So I have already downloaded the data set. It contains a few tables, so we'll be able to get our data modeling done, okay? And I have already opened a blank report here in Power BI, and I will show you how we're gonna do it. So this live stream will be divided into two parts. Okay, the first part will be focused on data transformation, which I think is the maybe the at least 50% of the value of the analysis is on data transformation, on ETL, on the pipeline of the data. And the second part is all about doing the report itself, on analyzing, on creating the measures, on understanding the data, and trying to answer those questions in a more objective way, right? So I have a blank report here. And the first thing we're gonna do is to upload our data. So we're gonna go into get data and text CSV because I have the CSV files of the dataset. I have already opened in download CRM sales opportunities, and we have 5 tables in here. One of them is actually a dictionary of the data, so it contains all the tables and the columns and the description of these columns. So we're not gonna really use it at our data modeling, but it's useful for information, right? Uh, we're gonna start uploading the accounts table. So in here, I'm gonna explain to you what's the difference between dimension tables and fact tables. Um, pretty much the dimension tables are tables that contains uh, characteristics and some more information about the individuals or the things that we are measuring about, right? For example, on this first table, we have the clients table. Let me just move the screen in my main screen here. Okay, so here we have the account, the sector of which the company is on, the year of establishment, the revenue, the number of employees, where it is located, and the group of which the company is part of. Notice that there are a lot of companies that is not in a group. Okay, so the very first thing that we can transform in here and to give more value, instead of keeping in blank these groups, we're going to remove these blanks and replace by some kind of value. For example, we can go here and transfer and replace these blank values by no group, for example, because we know that these companies, they don't uh, at least we know that we don't know which group they are part of. Okay, so we're gonna assume that they make part of no group. Okay, Now the second table we're gonna upload is products. So these are the hardware pieces that this company is selling. So there's the product, the series of the product. There are basically two series only, and the standard sales price. We're gonna rename this column to D products because it's a dimension table, and it makes it easier for us to identify these kind of tables. If in case another person has to take this dashboard to manage, it gets easier to identify. Okay, the next one is sales teams. I'm gonna skip that sales pipeline for a while. Okay, I'll just focus on dimension tables for now. Okay, notice that the headers are all column 1, 2, and 3, and the first row is actually the header that should be in the above the content in here. So we're going to apply a transformation here. We're gonna use first row as headers, and automatically it has set the first row as the headers, and also it had identified the type of the columns. So all of those were text, so it was all right. So here we have the sales agent. There are a lot of people here. The manager, which we can infer that is the leader of the team, and the regional office. As the regional office, we have central, east, and west. Okay, and this is also a dimensional table. Finally, we are going to upload the sales pipeline table. It is our fact table, which means that it represents everything that we are going to use as a measure. Okay, so let's understand what it shows to us. We have the opportunity ID, the sales agent, the product, the account, the deal stage, the engage date, the close date, and the close value. We can assume that each row of these are a different opportunity that's set in a different stage. So let's rename it to F sales pipeline. A practice that can be done here is to group these tables into folders. In the data modeling, it's not gonna make a difference, but here in Power Query, when we have um, to uh, to maintenance, or other person has to do maintenance, it makes it easier to identify of which part of the data modeling is each table. So these first three tables are dimension tables. And automatically the sales pipeline was set into other queries, but we're gonna also move the sales pipeline to the fact tables. Although we're just gonna have one fact table, so I should set as fact table, but in the real life, we would usually have a lot of those fact tables. Okay, let's see what we have here. So one thing that we can notice in here is that there are blank values or no values into the account column, right? So it makes it impossible to know what client it is. Let me just check one thing. I'll filter these blank values to see in which stage it is. Okay, so we can see that it's usually in the engaging stage, right? So in the process of negotiation. And I have already seen before that also in the prospecting stage, the count is blank. So we do not have information of which client we are selling to. So we're going to make a improvement in here. We'll replace these values to unknown because we don't actually know what client it is. No, right. It didn't work. What happened? Oh, yeah. The value to find it is the blank cell, is the blank data, okay? And we're gonna replace it with the value, with unknown. All right. I also noticed that there are some no close dates. I think that this kind of no dates, no close date, they make sense because they're usually on engaging and they're gonna be also on the prospecting stages, right? So it makes sense to not have a date because it wasn't actually closed, right? Uh, Also, there are no close values. These no close values, I think that it may be valuable for us to replace it by zero, right? So replace values. We're gonna replace the no values to zero, just in case we uh, occasionally have to make a calculation on it. Okay, so one thing that you might have noticed, and one thing that is crucial to data modeling, especially on star schema that we're gonna do, and I'm going to explain it later. One thing that you might have noticed in here is that we actually added one kind of account here, the unknown account, and the unknown account is not present here in our dimension table accounts. So what we're going to do is to add one row to this table, referencing the unknown client. In order to do it, we're gonna append one row in the bottom. To do it, we're gonna make a trick with using Excel. So we're going to copy all of these columns. I'm gonna open Excel. I'm gonna paste the data in here. It's all the data, but what we only need is the headers, or the headers. So I'm gonna copy the headers and I'm gonna upload a new table with manual data. So I'm gonna go here and enter data, and I get the data the headers that I have copied on Excel, and I'm gonna paste here. The account is unknown. Sector is unknown as well. Here establish it'll be of no use in here. Revenue no. Employees no use. Office location we can set unknown because it's a categorical data, right? A text data. And subsidiary of we can leave it to no group as we have already set before the accounts that didn't have a group. Okay. In this table we're gonna get the suffix the prefix of auxiliary, and it's auxiliary accounts. can create a special folder for this kind of auxiliary tables. Okay, we could leave them to the, actually we're gonna keep them on other queries, right? Because everything that is not a dimension or a fact table, which are gonna be loaded directly to our data uh, modeling or data model, we can consider it in as other queries. So this one has the exact same layout of the D account, and we're gonna append. First, we're gonna transform these three these three columns in here. So they're established. These columns must be the same type of the table that we're gonna append with, right? So this is a whole number. Revenue is also a whole number as well as employees. Okay, and you're gonna go in here in the account and in here append queries, and we're gonna append two tables. The table to append with the account are auxiliary accounts. Right, so we can check that at the bottom of the table, it is already appended the information that we have um, manually set. Okay, so the unknown is a kind of an account of a client in here. Uh, okay, these auxiliary accounts we will not use in our data model. It's only for it only exists for the purpose of data transformation here in a Power Query. So we're gonna go here with it and right click it with our mousepad and disable the load. Okay, so it got this italic kind of font. It's because it's not gonna be loaded in our data model. Also, what else can we do in here? This DU stage is a very important characteristic that we are going to use in our analysis. So in order to not use this column directly from our fact table, we are going to create a dimension table for the DU stages. So we're going to right click, reference, because this table is going to depend on this table here, right? We're going to rename it to DO stages, and we're gonna move it to dimension tables folder. Okay, so the only column that we need in here is DO stage. So we're gonna click here in this little icon. We're going to choose columns, and the columns that we're going to choose are actually only the DO stage. Next, we're going to remove the duplicates, so we only have the unique entries. So in here we have one, engaging, lost, and prospecting. These are the stages, and I think that in the visuals we may prefer to display the tables or the charts uh, in a specific order about these deal stages, because at least I interpret that process it's the process of negotiation, and lost and won are the final steps, are when the negotiation is closed. So we're going to create a new column named order. We're gonna go into add column, custom column. This column will be named order, and the order will be if deal stage is 1, then 4. Else, if deal, okay, it's better if I click in here. If deal stage is equal lost, then 3. Else, if deal stage is equal engaging, engaging, yes, engaging, then 2. And if deal stage is prospecting, then 1. Else, 0. Now, why did I put 0 in here? It's because considering that, or assuming that we're going to update this daily, weekly, or even monthly, and there may be new stages, so the rules of the business changes or updates, whatever appears in here will be set to 0, so will appear first, right, in our graphics, in our charts. It's just a safety practice. One of those didn't work out. So prospecting. Did I miss something? Oh, in here, I got a minus icon. It has to be a equal symbol. So it's a syntax error. This is a whole number. Okay. And one more thing. No, actually, I'll leave it to right after. I'll show you right after. Okay, we're ready to to load our data model. But first, I'm just going to upload that last table, right? So the data dictionary, only for the purpose of information, and if we need occasionally. Notice that as the other table that we've seen before, the first row was intended to be the headers actually, so we're going to transform it, and it's just right. Okay, and we're gonna move it to other queries, and then finally we're going to close and apply. Now all the tables already transformed are going to load into our data model. It is recommended that you do the the maximum that you can of transformations into in the Power Query, right? And only then you load in your data model. Because when you make transformations on a data model, you usually get the archive usually gets heavy, and for the final user, it gets a little bit slow to use. So it's a matter of UX design as well. And preferably, if you have a SQL database, try to do as much transformation as possible on SQL, trying to create tables, views on SQL, because it's usually more has a better performance than Power Query. Notice that we didn't save this report, so we're going to save it now. Just we don't lose anything. So it is CRM opportunities, sales opportunities report, sales opportunities report. Okay. Notice that we have spent almost half an hour just on data transformation, and in the majority of time, the data transformation will add more value to your project than anything else. It's because the data quality is all on data transformation. So it's very, very important. In the first page, we have the report view of where we're going to create our charts and tables and visualizations. Then we have our table view. In this view, we have the tables in order to make the quick analysis and understand the data. And next, we have the model view. So in the model view, we set relationships between our tables. In this case, when I loaded the tables, uh, it happened to already set these relationships automatically. But usually when we have a new table in here, a dimension or a fact table, we usually have to create these relationships. So the relationships are basically connections between columns of tables. So products is connected by the sales pipeline by product, stages by the stage, account, and sales team by the sales agent. Okay, this is usually a star schema that we are seeing right now. A star schema is defined by a centralized fact table surrounded by dimension tables. So it's the most common kind of data model used. But of course, there are other kinds of data models such as the Snowflake or Data Vault, One Big Table. Okay, so the first question that we have is, how is each sales team performing compared to the rest? One thing that we can set in here is, let's see what we have here in the sales teams. We have the manager, the sales agent, and the regional office. Uh, as to represent the sales team, we start by the manager, getting the manager, right? So it automatically created a table in here, and we're gonna leave it for a table for a while, okay? Because it's usually easier to understand the data. And how could we start to measure the performance? Because the question itself is very vague. What is performance? How do we count it? So the very first basic thing that we can do is the count of the opportunities, right? So how much opportunities each manager has. So in order to count the opportunities, we're going to create a measure. And to create a measure, what I like to do is to create a table specific for the measures. So we're going to enter the data in here. And this is gonna be the measures table. And now we have the measures table. This table we're going to use to centralize all the measures that we create, right? So it has one blank column, but we're right after going to exclude it, and we're going to create a measure with a right click and new measure. And assuming that each row of the sales pipeline table is a different opportunity, then we can set the total opportunities as a count rows of sales pipeline. And we're going to remove this column 1. Power BI will automatically understand that this is a measures table and will pin this table up here on the top of the tables, right? So we're going to drag this measure into the visual, and notice that the measure was applied on the context. So the context is the let's say the filter of the row or of the column. So the total opportunities is 8,800, right? But it's been filtered by each context. In this situation, by each manager. So Losh has 964 opportunities in total. Let's order this by the total opportunities, and Melvin has the most of the opportunities with 1,929, right? Almost almost 8,000 more than Carolosh. Okay. This measure we can put a thousand dot in here just for the sake of visualization. And another measure that we can do in here is the total of closed values. So how much in volume did they sell? We're going to create a new measure in here, and the total, actually we're going to set as close volume as a sum of close value. Let's drag this measure into our table, and we notice that as well Melvin had the major of the volume sold. So he's the one bringing his team is the one bringing the most value into the company. In total, we have 10 million, more than 10 million. I think that in this context is dollars, right? So $10 million. And in contrast, made Carolosh team made only 1,100,000 in close volume. But this is not very fair to compare, because Melvin has the most opportunities, while Kara has the less, the least of the opportunities. So it is expected that Kara has a lower close value volume. So one additional um, analysis that we can do in here is to actually, let me just copy this one in here, is to analyze by each measure how the total opportunities are going, and we're gonna transform it into a matrix by stage. Let me just quickly do one thing in here in the stages. I'll order the due stage by, I'll sort by order. And let's see it. Okay, so Melvin, we already knew that he had the most of the opportunities. He also handles the most of the one opportunities, while Kara, as expected, handles the least of one opportunities. Well, now this may seem like Melvin is performing better because he's winning more negotiations, but actually he's also uh, he also has the most of the lost opportunities. While Kara also handles the list of the lost opportunities, right? So it may have a correlation with the total opportunities. That's why I told you that it may not be fair to compare only these metrics because of the total opportunities. So one thing that we will do in here, let me drag it a little bit to the right. We are going to set a measure that compares the total closed negotiations, so the lost and the won negotiations, and we're gonna make the division, the ratio of the won opportunities by the closed ones. So in the total of closed negotiations, how much was a success? We're going to create a measure, and this measure will be the percentage of one. Actually, let's not set a var in here. Let's make it very directly. We're gonna divide the total opportunities, which due stage is 1, by the total opportunities of which the due stage is in, is whether won or lost, the closed ones, right? And just in case that we don't have any errors in this calculation, we're gonna set a 0 as alternate result. I think I have, yes, I've mistaken the syntax in here. Is it right now? No, it's because I use parentheses. I should use the key, the key icon to make a list. Okay. Oh, it's with there still. Argument 3 in calculate function is required. Well, actually, this variable in here, it isn't. necessary, isn't needed. The percentage of 1 is bringing a decimal number, but we can format to a percentage. And we discover that Kara Losh, which had the list of the opportunities and the list of the total value, close value volume, has the highest rate of success in closed negotiations. Of course, this is very well distributed. Maybe it's because it's fictional fictitious data, right? So it may contain a aspect of normality in in this data, but the fact is that Kara is top one successful closes, right? Meanwhile, Rocco Neubert handles the list of the one negotiations, and Melvin is on top bottom too, right? So he's not very good in close, although he brings a lot of close value volume. He's not very good into negotiation assertiveness. So it may happen because he has a more structured team, a bigger client portfolio. He's located into a capital city, right? So it may happen because of several several things, but we can see these data as opportunities as well, because think about it. Kara has low volume of opportunities. What if the company decided to give it a chance and uh, to give Kara more opportunities, or make a special and focused campaign to her team, right? So if she keeps this one ratio, it'll bring a lot more volume of close value, right? So it's a big opportunity that we have here. Uh, in the contrary, by Melvin, if we manage to see what's happening in his negotiations, in the negotiations of his team, if it's something about the the the, the conversation of his agents with the clients, or whether the market or anything else that we can improve, he already has the most of the opportunities. If he raises this ratio of 1, we can increase even more this this value volume. So there are at least 2 opportunities in here, right? One another thing that we can do is, okay, so Melvin is getting the best in the close value volume and in the total opportunities. But does it mean that each opportunity of his team is the most valuable? Let's make a average close value here, and we're going to do the average close value only by the one opportunities, right? So the one that are closed and one, because it's the most fair to compare in here in this situation. So this is the average close value, and this is a calculate of the average close value we could divide the two measures that we have already built, which are the close value volume by the total opportunities. But the average function in here does the same thing, right? We would only it's not only it's only not recommended to use this average function when each row isn't the a different negotiation, right? If it's already aggregated, and then we have to use other manners to do it. But in this case, we can use the average. The average when the deal stage is 1. Let's save our file. And by this measure, we can verify that Rocco Neubert has the most value close negotiation, right? So even though he has the lowest ratio of 1 closes, he actually handles the most valuable ones with with $2,800 each sell that he does, that his team does. Dustin Brinkman is leading the top bottom, right? So his closes are the least valuable for a company. His price is are the lowest for each cell. Let me just check the yes the in the last place, Rocco is with the ratio of 1. Now we can infer some reasons of why this is happening. Maybe the he has the lowest ratio because he tends to negotiate a higher price, or it isn't correlated because Karalosh has the top win rate, but it isn't not very bad on the average close. Dustin has a poorer average close value, but has a better win rate. But so maybe it is not correlated. But just imagine if we manage to keep the the average close value to Rocco and try to analyze and to improve his negotiations in order to increase this this win rate. We would have more closed negotiations and at the same time a higher price. Of course, it may come with a lower with lower prices, right? But if we manage to keep this a constant, the average price a constant, then we'll have an increase on the close value volume. So it's another opportunity. I think that these 4 measures that we've done until now are very sufficient for today to analyze. And let's get back to the questions. So how is each sales team performing compared to the rest? So we have already analyzed it. Karalosh has the better win rates. Melvin has the better is bringing the most of the close value and volume, and he has the most of the opportunities. Uh, and Rocco has the highest average close value. So his cells, each cell of him, of his teams, of his team is the has the better price for us. The second the second question is actually very near from the first one. So, are there any sales agents lagging behind? What can we do in here to just use to take advantage of these measures that we have built is to add in the matrix. It's actually a it's actually a table, so let's transform it into a matrix. Is to add into the matrix a layer of the sales agent. So you might have noticed that now we can expand each manager to better know its team. So each manager has a group of sales agents, and this can be all expanded in this icon, and each sales agent will be grouped by its manager. Or we can just descend the level of analysis, and we're going to remove the manager of the analysis, and we're just gonna focus on the sales agent. So this is pretty much the same analysis that we did for the managers, and we can analyze in here that Wilburn Farron, Garrett Kinder, Rosalina Dieter, and Rosie Papadopoulos, uh, those have the lowest opportunities in here. So it may be caused because the CRM team is not getting to find good prospects, good hot prospects for them, or they are not doing a great job at prospecting at their locations, right? So it may be a factor in here. And in contrast, their sales select has the most of the count of opportunities, and it's very higher compared to the second place with Vicky Laflamme. So it's 700 to 400. It's a big difference, right? It's the same thing for the close value volume. So it's expected for Darcel to have a bigger volume of closed deals. And the top bottom is Violet McLelland. The agent that handles that regards the most of the win rate is Hayden Nellums, followed by Maureen Wilburn Cecily, so 70%. I think that's a very high win rate. And of course, will there be the top bottoms like La Juana, Marquita, Dawn, Gladys with around uh, 50% above, right? So these agents, this one of the top bottom, it may be worthy to understand why are they into this position. Maybe it's because their negotiation techniques, their seniority. Maybe it's because of the market context. So we may, if we focus on trying to develop this and to reward these ones, I think that we can keep a good motivation for these sales agents. And finally, the top one with the highest average close value is Elise Gluck. Of course, we can see that he or she has the most of the total, actually one of the least of the total opportunities. So he may have some factor uh, of randomness in here, but their cell is actually in a very good position, right? Because not only he has the most of the close value volume, but also the one of the highest, the top two, the second place highest average close value, right? So he's we can consider he as one of the most valuable agents that we have. Let me just see on the win rate of which position is he. In here, 63%. He's above the half quarter. He's on the second quarter, almost in the third quarter of the win rate position. So he's pretty median on closes, and this is a good opportunity for him to upgrade their skills on closing negotiations. And Violet McLeland is among the top bottom of average close value. I have quoted her before. Let us see why. Yes. So in the extreme opposite of their cell, Violet has a low volume of close negotiations while having the lowest average close value. So I think this one may be the agent that's most lagging behind between all of the team that we have in the company. Next we have, are there any quarter over quarter trends? In order to do it, what I like to do, let's start by um, a line chart. Okay, we have to use dates in here. So what are we going to do? It's a good practice to create a dimension table for dates. So we're going to create a calendar for us. We can only keep the short date because the time will not be used in here. And in the x-axis, we'll have at first, let's see the relation between the tables. So notice that I created this calendar table and it's not connected with our fact table, which means that if we use the date hierarchy in the charts, in any visual that we create, and we put a measure like the total opportunities, it won't work. It will remain the same value for each item of the date for each month, for each year, day. So it's because there is no relation between them. So the relation that we are going to create here, there are two possibilities. There is the close date and the engage date. We're going to use the engage date because at least we know that we will have more of them. It's a many to one relation cardinality, right? Because it's many of the dates here in the engage date to one unique date for calendar, right? I've noticed that there are no dates here in the engage date. It's probably because it's prospecting stage. In this case, we do not have any options because there is not a way to discover of which date it was initiated. It initiated because the engage will likely only start by the engaging stage, right? So the prospecting will have unfortunately to take off of our analysis, but I think that there's no big problem for this analysis. We could do another relationship with the close date. It's a one-to-many because it's the one side is the calendar and many are the close date, the close dates this in the sales pipeline because we have multiple duplicated close dates in here, right? And we are not going to make this relationship active because when we have two relationships between tables, we can only have one of them active per time. We're just going to create the relationship, but it's not going to be used, right? We could use furthermore into later on into other analysis, but it's not on our scope today. Notice that it's almost like a star in here. So it's the idea of a star schema. Of course, there will be situations where you have not not thousands, but tens of tables surrounded the fact table. You will have multiple fact tables, so we'll have more centers in here, right? So uh, it's not you don't it will not always be 5 dimension tables. Usually it'll be more. Okay, so in the x-axis we will set, for the sake of this analysis, we're going to only set the quarter in here, right? But we could set year, date, even day. Actually, I'll do it. I'll set all of those just to show you how it is, how it will be the final result. I'll set the whole hierarchy. And in the y-axis, we're going to set one measure per time in here. So total opportunities first. This chart, the x-axis is continuous. We're gonna set to categorical, and we'll expand. Notice that it is collapsing here a grouping by the year. It's not showing any month or quarter or day, right? We're going to expand it. So we're gonna show the year and the quarter, and we can expand even more, the month, and finally the day. We'll filter this chart using this filter panel in here to remove the blank values because those are the engaging values. We're going to remove it for now. It's not empty. Apply filter. Okay. It didn't work. Let me try to get by date here. Is not blank. Okay, now it worked. So it's a little bit difficult to analyze by day, and so we're gonna remove the day, and we're gonna just get grouped by month. We can see that July 2017 has the top opportunities, and then it is decreasing along the months. But we're going to remove the month and only keep the quarter, which is the object of analysis that we are focusing on. So we have a peak, a top uh, quantity of opportunities here in the third quarter of 2017. But for the sake of analysis, in order to see the trends, we are going to only keep the quarter and assume that we have several years in here. Okay, so this is by here we can just see that at least for engaging and closed opportunities, uh, there is a trend on the third quarter to exist a higher count of opportunities. But I think that there is a better way to visualize this, as we only have four um, four distinct bins here in the x-axis. We could use the bar chart, although I think there is even a better one, and I don't know it's very known in the BI community or in the data analysis community, but I like to use it a lot, especially to see this movement between the epochs or the periods, which is the line chart, but instead of this diagonal format, we're going to set the interpolation type. There is also the smooth one, but we don't need it in here. We're gonna set the interpolation type as step. So it's almost like a bar chart, but you can see exactly where it went, it went to in each of the in each movement. We're gonna set on the shade area, and I think it's pretty much better to visualize now. Let's try to insert data labels in here. We can set the background as blue with the transparency of 0. I think this blue is better. And the value will be set in a white color. And as we have the 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 data labels here for each quarter, we don't need these labels for the y-axis. So let's remove it. Let's remove the values, the title, because the title uh, will be informing the user, will be telling the user what is going on this chart. So the list that you leave the chart with the maximum information better. I think this way. the less things showing in the report, and the most of the information told. Okay, so this is the quarter. I think it's good to no, actually it can be took out because it'll be telling the user in in the title of the chart. So let's remove it so we'll have more space to our graphic. And for the label, we can set the color as black. There is a recommendation on the BI community that you keep these labels or this information of the chart that or legends and legend labels and this kind of stuff. You keep it in a lighter color, such as gray, for example, just to not give much of a focus or a highlight, or to even highlight information that is not the main data that you want to inform, right? But I think that you must have everything very clear for the user, right? So he can see that in here are the quarters and in here are the value. Will the legends be good to use? Let me see the grid lines. No. Let's see the legends here. Okay, let's keep it like this. So in the second and third quarter, we can see that we have the most of the number of the opportunities. Let me see if I can try one thing that I haven't tried in my test before. Small multiples. No, it didn't work. There's no problem. We'll keep going as planned. As for our second visualization, we'll set, instead of total opportunities, we'll set the close value volume. We can see that the second and the third quarter gives us the major of our value of our cell volumes, right? Maybe we can infer that to the December and the January, and like in the end and in the start of the year, we don't usually get to sell a lot. It's more focused on middle year, right? And we can see that the second quarter has the most of the volume, followed by the third quarter. Although this is not a very there's not much of a, h- a high difference between the second and the third quarter, but we can see that it mimics the behavior of the total opportunities, right? So our activity, the activity of our negotiations are more intense in half year, in the middle of the year, right? As we don't have any space to include the new charts, we're going to format canvas setting, custom, and we're gonna increase the height a little bit to 900. We're gonna need more, 1200. Think this is enough? Is it aligned? Is it's aligned? And one more chart. in here. So for the third and fourth charts, we're going to replace these measures by the other ones that we were seeing, that we were analyzing before. So how's the win rate? Now see how interesting it is. The win rate in the contrast of the volume of activity that we have in the middle of the year, the win rate is higher in the end and in the start of the year. So in the first and in the fourth quarter, in contrast, we have lower win rates in the second and third quarters, right? And for the final chart, we'll apply the close, no, the average close value. We can see that the average value of negotiation, it has its bottom on the third quarter. Then it starts to increase by the fourth quarter, has its peak on the first one, and then on the second quarters respectively, right? And then it decreases again. So in the first and on the second quarter, we can assume that we will have the most of the most valuable sales, right? Most valuable sellings, actually. Okay, let's just move a little bit for the final of the report in here, the bottom of the canvas. A little bit here. Okay, it can be here. It's okay. Okay. And finally, we'll have our final question. Do any products have better win rates? Fortunately, we have already created the win rate measure. Let me just get it a little bit up to here. The only difference is that we're gonna set the the dimension of the matrix for the product. And let's have it by product itself, because it's not a lot of products. So I think it's not worthy to group those in here in this context. Actually, we can do better. We can take this here, copy, set in here, and take out the manager and the sales agent, and keep the series and the product. Let's move to the next layer. And we have the exact same kinds of measures to the product. So we don't have to make any manual calculation. It's already done. But you might have noticed that there is one blank value in here. There is one blank product, And this blank product has total opportunities. It has a close value volume, a win rate, and an average close value. What does it mean? It means that in our dimension table, one product is missing, and this product that is missing is represented here in this matrix by this blank value. So we have at least we have this information, but there could be one or more products that we don't know its label or name. So we'll have to make a data transformation again. Just to verify which product it is, we're going to create a table, and we're going to add the product, and we're going to take to get the sales pipeline table and get the product in here to see what is relating with which product. As we can see here, almost every product is present on the dimension table of products, uh, except for GTX Pro, right? So what we're going to do is to add this GTX Pro in our data table. So we're going to go back to Power Query and do a similar process of what we did with the unknown companies in the accounts table. And yes, it can happen. Actually, in the real life, it will happen a lot. It happens to for you to need to open again the Power Query and do a data transformation and then load the data model and then verify that some data is wrong or is missing or is in the wrong format. So this data transformation is a iterative process, right? Iterative process. Let's head to the product. We are going to actually no, we're going to product. We're going to copy this table, open Excel. We can delete these headers that we had before, copy the table. We can well actually GTX Pro is in here. So let's see what happened in our data model. Oh, I've just seen what happened. Yes, GTX Pro is in the table. What actually happened is that in the sales pipeline, in the column of product, GTX Pro is is missing a space character. And it's not going. It's not making the correct relationship. So instead of inserting a new row in the table, we're just going to replace that GTX Pro here in the sales pipeline. We're going to go into product, replace values. The value to find is GTX Pro, I think. Yes. And replace with the same thing, except now we have a space character in here. And now we have GTX Pro in the correct format. Let's close and apply, and it should be correct this time. Okay, so there is no blank value in here. Let's see in our chart, in our matrix, we have it done. Okay, so it's that simple. Okay, we can remove this page. Let's save the file. Okay, I think it's saved. Firstly, we can see that GTX Basic is the top one in the total opportunities, right? Followed by MG Special, GTX Pro, MG Advanced, and so on. Notice that we have our worrying gap between GTX Plus Basic and GT Plus Pro, right? From 900 to 1,300. So it's a big gap. It's more than 30% of gap, and a very worrying indicator in here of GTK 500 with only 40 opportunities in total. So this may happen because it may be a new product. You can see that instead of GTX or MG, it is GTK. GTK. So it may be a new series to be that has just been launched. So this might not be worrying. Let's see the other indicators. The highest close value volume is from GTX Pro, right? Followed by GTX Plus Pro with with a lower close value volume. And from the third place of MG Advanced to GTX Plus Basic, which is the fourth place, we have uh, a real jump here in the volume. So it's 700,000 to 2,200,000. So it's a very big difference in here. And as for the MG Special, we have only 43 of volume. Although GTK 500 has the least of the opportunities, MG Special, which is above, actually above from MG Advanced and GTX Plus Basic, it has a very low close value volume, right? It may be worrying. Of course, maybe because of the low price. MG Special has the highest win rate, but it's not very far from the GTX Plus Pro, actually. And the GTK 500 has the least of the win rate. And as expected, MG Special has the lowest average close value. Let's see one thing here in our data model, in our products. MG Special has the lowest. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the average close value is actually reflecting the reflecting the price in here, the prices. Well, GTK 500 has the is the most the valuable is the most valuable product to be sold in here. In the meantime, GTK 500 has the um, the least of the win rate. So if we manage to get it higher to sell more of these copies, it may be very valuable to us, right? With this, we close our full analysis. Uh, what you are going to do next is to just make some corrections in here. Get a little bit to here. And we are going to transform it into a PDF to be shared with a manager, an executive, a team member, with stakeholders, right? Uh, we could also publish this report to Power BI service, which is the online platform, but we're not going to focus on it today. If this dashboard was supposed to be online for self-service, right? So users enter and see their own data that they want. Then these functions of the matrix to drill up, to drill down, and to expand the hierarchy would be very, very valuable here. As we're going to export this as a PDF report, we have this static. But it could be valuable by, for example, automating a email, attaching the PDF to the CEO or to the manager of each region, for example. And one last thing that I wanted to do in here before exporting it would be to add a title above the canvas. So we're going to custom it to a little more of a height. Okay, so let's try 1,500. Maybe less, maybe 1,300. And we're going to drag these visualizations in here. And finally, let me just save it. We are going to insert a text in here. And it is CRM sales opportunities report. Let's increase the the font size. Let's make it a bit bigger in here. Center the text. It's covering the visuals, we can let it by here. Okay, it's written correctly. We can also insert a shape of a line in here. And let's color this with blue. Let's see. I think it's okay. This one can be not touching the border as well of this side. And one last thing that we can do in here is to create, in order to better inform our user, is to create this visual in here as a card showing the last closed date. The last close date. Okay, be short date. This is the earliest. Let's try to make it the latest. So the latest, which is from when this report is updated up to, is December 31, 2017. We're gonna set this to here. Okay. Let's save it and let's export to PDF. Now we could make use of Power Automate, of even the Power BI online feature of signatures, or even automate with the task scheduler of Windows, or even Python to daily, monthly, weekly send this report to someone. So this is a useful thing to do. Okay, let's save it the downloads, and we're done. It turned out to be a very simple report. It's by far not a well designed report, but I think that the most important is in here, right? So the most important is to have of data, a good data quality, and to have a logical and easy to see layout. Because you have to think that the one that will be seeing it is probably much more interested in the numbers and what you are communicating them. Once you have all of these matters done, well executed, then you can think uh, about advanced features, about advanced colorful designs, these kind of things. Okay, I have pinned the data source here in the first comment in the chat, and my LinkedIn is here as well. Hope you have enjoyed it. I'm Lucas Chiesidin, data analyst at Credit Cooperative Evolua, and thank you for participating on my first live stream on YouTube. That's it. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.